You're listening to the Station 71 podcast with your hosts, Mario.
Beth.
And Brian.
So this week we're going to finish our tour of the Magic Kingdom and talk about the hub. But first, as always, is the news. This week we're going to try to do things a little bit differently and do like a roundtable style news. So I guess first up we will start with Beth. I think you had the first one, right?
Yes. So it has been confirmed by many people trying to call in and make reservations for Be Our Guest that dinner reservations are not currently being accepted past July of this year. So you can book through July 26th, according to the article, but after that, they will not let you book. And so there are a bunch of rumors kind of swirling, and the most prominent one being that Be Our Guest dinner is going to become a signature dining location. So among other things, that would mean that it takes 2 table service credits per guest on the meal plan. But that's only a rumor, so
I'm hoping that we just get like a menu revamp or something like that, because we really can they really afford to make it a signature dining? If you think about like how
it's
many
in such high demand, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Like Cinderella's Royal Table, they don't have any trouble making money off of people dining there.
True.
Right. I mean, I get that, but at the same time, it's like they already have Cinderella's Royal Table. Do they need another signature dining? I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know. It feels weird to me.
Yeah.
I hope that's not the case, but it might be.
Well, they do need it if they want more money, which is what they want.
Yeah, fair.
I think, was Brian's article next?
Yes,
Yeah.
Brian's was next.
So the Wonders of Life Pavilion at EPCOT is undergoing some restoration right now. So for anyone not in the know, Wonders of Life closed down in 2007 and has been operating off and on as a festival center for Food and Wine Festival, Festival of the Arts, Flower and Garden Festival, and not really being utilized to its full potential. So nothing's really been said yet about why the restorations are happening, or if it is just, some minor facade upgrades or not. But a lot of people are speculating that this could be, with the rumored very extensive changes coming to EPCOT in future years, that this might be part of it. And I'm hoping that's true. I think Wonders of Life is a really cool pavilion, and the fact that it doesn't really get used for anything is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It is really I don't know, almost iconic as far as the architecture of it.
Right. And I mean, it's weird. You walk right past it. You see it very clearly as you go around World Showcase, but there's nothing really there to do right now. I don't know what will come. I'd like to see another attraction in it. The only real attraction I think that was in there was Body Wars, and that's been closed since the pavilion itself shut down. So it'd be cool to see it getting utilized again.
Well, I know that this was definitely before my time, but if I remember from what I've read about it, it was a lot like, I guess the Land is probably the closest thing to compare it to, where it had a lot of little things in it, with Body Wars, and there's like a movie called The Making of Me and a bunch of other stuff. I really think that they dropped the ball on this big time and had the perfect opportunity to open it back up when Inside Out came out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I know that a lot of it probably has to do with like sponsorship and needing the funding to open the building, but I think that was their perfect chance, and they kind of just dropped the ball big time on that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, who knows? I don't think it's too late to still get on that, and maybe use, you know, Inside Out as a theming, starting point for this. I think that would be pretty cool.
It's the perfect place for them to go with a pavilion centered on like the body and even like just emotions in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the perfect edutainment franchise that Disney has right now.
Yeah. And really nothing came of Inside Out, I feel like, in the parks. So,
There's a Joy and Sadness meet and greet, but that's pretty much it.
yeah.
And like it sucks because this is such a wasted real estate. Like, yeah, they use it for like food and wine. I think maybe some of like Festival of the Arts stuff, but it's never like super utilized. It's like they do a couple cooking shows in there and you can, buy some merchandise, but that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there like a random food service place too?
I think so.
I know it's there during Food and Wine Festival.
Intermissions,
Yeah.
I think is what it's called. Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, the only cool thing I ever see in this pavilion, like you guys were kind of talking about, is the only time it's really utilized is during festivals, which is almost year round now. But they do the seminars for like different wine tastings or whatever. But I think the really cool thing that they do is the chocolate sculptures. Have you guys seen those?
No.
No, I haven't. I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so it's really amazing. Back at the like Ghirardelli section of the pavilion, they have these like glass cases that the culinary team will make sculptures out of chocolate. And like when the last time I was there was back in September, they had one that was like Moana and Maui, and they had like different animals and like Big Hero 6, like, and it's completely made out of chocolate and it's like insane. It's super cool. You guys should check it out.
Sounds cool.
It does sound cool. So we ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's still a rumor, so don't get your hopes up, but there's been a lot of there's been a lot of talk lately about the name change coming to Hollywood Studios. We've gotten confirmation in the past that it is going to change. It's not going to be Hollywood Studios soon, and I know there was a big shuffle about it. I want to say almost a year ago when they put out a survey that said, how would you feel about the renaming of Hollywood Studios? And it gave a bunch of a list of names. But apparently the one that's been going a lot lately is Cinemagine Park. It sounds so awful, but
no one's ever gonna say it right.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, a lot of people
like last week.
Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
So many thoughts.
Last week when we were, talking about Disney not putting much effort into the naming of Toy Story Land, and now it's kind of like, okay, dial it back, Disney. You're going a little too far with this one.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is, like, people just got used to calling it Hollywood Studios.
I still call it MGM from time to time.
I was about to say, everyone I ever talked to still calls it MGM.
I just got used to Hollywood Studios. Like, I don't know. And this is such a, like, it doesn't look like it should be an actual word, which maybe is cool when we finally get, like, the announcement and they're like, this is how you pronounce it. But for now, it's like,
and not only that, all of these proposed names that were sent out on this list to people are just awful. Mm-hmm. There's not a single one of these on here that I would want to go with. Disney's Kaleidoscope Park, Disney XL Park. Like,
what do these even mean?
I don't know. They just like picked random words like out of a word generator and said, you know what? We'll see what the people like out of these.
I feel like if maybe they dropped some of, like, if they dropped Park on some of them, like Disney Hyperia sounds cool. But like
Storyverse is kind of cool.
Storyverse is kind of cool, but it's still like
It doesn't seem it fits with the park though. None of these like click that I would say that's a good one. That's what the park is kind of shooting for. None of these seem right.
Right. Well, the announcement is supposed to come before the 50th anniversary, so we still have some time to hear what it's actually going to be called, but this list has not put any good hopes up for me.
I get that they're still trying to, have it somewhat as like Hollywood or movie related, but I kind of feel like with everything now, you've got Toy Story Land opening, you got Galaxy's Edge opening. None of those really have to do with movie studios anymore. So I understand why they need the name change, but it still seems like they're trying to stick to something movie themed.
Yeah, and the park itself is going to be such a hodgepodge of things that it's going to be weird to even put a name on it. Like, I wouldn't expect Pixar and Star Wars to really go together.
Right.
It's kind of like
Especially,
the Disney, not Disney property. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, when they finally get the theme park rights to Marvel, this is the park that they put it in.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I wish I had a better name to suggest, but these are not the ones I would pick.
Yeah. I really wish that I got the survey just to like see it. Like, I feel like this is one of those things. Like, Disney does surveys all the time where it's like, how would you feel if we did this? And then everyone's like, wait a second, are they actually considering it? Because I remember when like they started coming out with the naming ideas for it, and like everyone was like, oh my god, this is going to be the next Hollywood Studios name. And like, it was a big joke, and now it's coming back again, and they're like, oh, it's actually going to be Cinemagine or whatever it is. And it's just, I don't know. I have a lot of weird feelings about this one.
Yeah.
So are we ready to talk about the hub?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Okay, so when we first started this, we started with Main Street, and we kind of talked about we were going to talk about the hub, but then we realized that we were out of time, and that the hub is such a unique place in the Magic Kingdom that it deserved its own episode, completely dedicated to everything that you can do in the hub and cool little things about the hub. If you don't know, the hub is the central point of Magic Kingdom. It's where all of the lands connect, and basically the first place that you see outside of Main Street. It's also where the iconic Cinderella's Castle and the partner statue are. I don't know what else to really say about this. The only thing I will say is that this is going to be a little bit different than our other in-depth tours, because the way that the hub's set up, it's kind of weird for us to. There's no real like stop by stop. We're going to talk about different things that you can do, the parades, the stage shows, and all that stuff. And it's kind of just going to be us talking about the hub for a solid hour. So, where do we want to start with the partner statue, since that's the first on our list?
Sure,
we can. I feel like that's kind of almost the cherry on top of the hub, but sometimes that's good to start with.
Yeah, so the partner statue is the statue of Walt and Mickey that is in front of Cinderella's castle. I think this is really a thing that a lot of like diehard Disney fans appreciate a lot more than most people. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I see a lot of, I don't want to say like tourists, like a bad thing that, will stop by and take a quick picture of themselves in front of it and keep going. But yeah, I don't think it gets the appreciation that, the Disney fans gives it, which I think it deserves.
Yeah, it definitely deserves our love.
Mm-hmm. It's just it's so iconic, and and it's cool to see Walt with Mickey just being. You've got the icon in the storytelling, but you've got the icon and the real person there, and like to see both of those together right there in the middle, with the castle in the backdrop, it's a very, very cool placement and just a really cool statue.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's worth noting that the sculptor of this statue, Imagineer Blaine Gibson, also did the Sharing the Magic statue at the very front, the one of Roy and Minnie.
I did not know he did both of them.
Yep, and he also sculpted a lot of the characters in Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, and most of the presidents in the Hall of Presidents.
Huh,
A little
that's
fun
cool.
fact.
Another fun fact, because I'm just looking up Partners statue facts now. Apparently, one of the early sketches of the Partners statue had Mickey holding an ice cream cone in one hand. That's a little odd, but the cool thing that I found was that apparently when they were considering having Mickey hold Walt's hand, the footage that they consulted was from Fantasia, in which Mickey shakes the hand of an orchestra conductor. So that's kind of cool. So after that, we've got Cinderella's Castle, which is the icon of Magic Kingdom. If you missed this one, I don't know how. But Cinderella's Castle, this is like, I don't want to say this is like the perfect way to tie all of like the Magic Kingdom together, because I hate saying that things are perfect, but there's no like bad part about Cinderella's Castle, I don't think. From the beautiful mosaics to the design and how it appears to be a lot taller than it actually is. Like everything about this is just so cool, and it's everything I would want in a Disney park icon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the forced perspective used on it, Disney uses that a lot around the park, but it's definitely utilized to its fullest with Cinderella's Castle.
Yeah, and it's definitely the most iconic icon of Disney. I think 9 times out of 10, people who don't do any research think that that's the park and that's it. Like Magic Kingdom is the one because it's the one with the castle, and then everything else is universal.
I mean, that's definitely probably true.
Yeah.
But this is like the centerpiece to all of the hub, even down to like the shows that are performed here. The fact that this is where Cinderella's royal table is, like, it's the central force of the hub, I think.
One of the coolest things that I was reading about is how when Walt and the Imagineers were originally designing this, they wanted it to be where, basically 2 reveals to the castle. So you get the first when you get to the TTC and you see the castle, and as you take either the ferry boat or the monorail around, you kind of lose sight of it again. So before it's supposed to draw you to the Magic Kingdom. And then once you get off, you really don't see it until you start walking down Main Street. And by the time you turn onto Main Street, you get the second reveal, which is now you're up close and you're getting like the full impact of it. So you get the initial draw in when you're on the other side of the lagoon, and then you get the like grand reveal as you enter on the Main Street. And I thought that was just a really cool little detail that, how they were using it to pull people into the park.
Yeah, I think it's so much design work went into the reveal of the castle and how it looks. It's just so fascinating.
Mm-hmm. So I guess that leads us into some of the specifics of what is actually in Cinderella's castle.
Yeah. So I guess we should first talk about Cinderella's royal table, since that is on our list. Have either of you eaten here? Because I have not.
I have not either. I've wanted to, but my boyfriend is such a picky eater. I don't want to go pay $60, $70, however much it is.
I went long time ago as a kid, to the point where I don't really remember it. And nowadays, it's definitely not a cheap place to eat, and it's very difficult to get into. So I have not been in a long time.
So lucky for us, the power of the internet has brought us this beautiful thing called disneyworld.disneygo.com, where we can look at all the things that are on the menu and talk about some of the stuff that's in there. But with that said, you can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner here. It is a character dining and a signature dining experience, like we talked about earlier. You do have to use 2 meal plan credits to get in here since it's signature. And apparently it's also closing for refurbishment in February 28th. Fun fact.
The one thing I remember is they have little like Mickey shaped butter pads. So
that's cute.
Yeah.
So those little details.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't get like exact pricing for some reason. Like it does not show up, but the average pricing. Oh wait, never mind. It shows up per thing. Either way, the average pricing that you would spend here is about $35 to $60 per adult. So it is not cheap. It is very much not cheap.
I actually have the prices in front of me if you're interested.
Go right ahead. I do not have either or any of them.
So for breakfast, it is $36 for children and $58 for adults. For lunch is $38 for children and $61 for adults, and dinner is $43 for children and $73 for adults.
Oh man.
Yeah. Ouch.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I really want to go here just to say I did it, but like the price point is what kills me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like how good could it possibly be?
I feel like you're mainly paying because you're eating in the castle, you know?
Right.
Probably.
Like, I think you could probably go to a lot of other places on Disney property if you want a really good meal that might be worth that kind of money. Like I said, I haven't been here in a long time, so I'm not just like putting it down for no reason, but I can only imagine that a large premium is being paid for the location.
Well, okay, so here I'm looking at the dinner menu, just because I try to look at dinner menus for a lot of things. I feel like that's usually where they shine in Disney. For entrees, you have braised pork shank, beef and shrimp, pan-seared all-natural chicken, chef's fish of the day, beef tenderloin salad, and vegetables. Their vegetable thing is portobello mushrooms, seared tofu, and a charred tomato vinaigrette. And then you also get a dessert with it, like at most places, which is a raspberry swirl cheesecake with warm apple, salted caramel, and vanilla bean. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Dark chocolate mousse, lemon sorbet, and citrus cake. Like it doesn't sound like it's anything super fancy, but even, like reading the descriptions of the food, it sounds at least good enough that I would probably still pay for the experience.
Well, they definitely made it sound fancy on the menu, saying things like charred tomato vinaigrette and vanilla bean panna cotta.
Yeah, well, I mean, they definitely use the fluff words on that. I don't know. I mean, I would still eat here, but you are going to be paying an arm and a leg to get in and have dinner here.
Right. And I have a friend that ate here and she said she had a really great time. It was her and her husband, like just two 20-something-year-old adults. And they enjoyed it, even not having kids.
So I just clicked on the lunch menu and it's the exact same thing. So I don't know if that's just my computer.
$12 cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know if that's my computer or if it actually is the exact same thing, but I'd definitely be interested to know if it really is. You probably get smaller portions, I would suspect.
Yeah. I don't know. That's still crazy prices, but hey, you can use tables in Wonderland, so there's that.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is it is character dining too, and a lot of the character dining is priced up a little bit just because you get the character experience. So that might have something to do with it.
Yeah, I would pretty much like, obviously I would do this regardless. It would just be, an experience, but I would mostly be doing it to be inside the castle.
Right. So after that, what do we want to talk about next? Because pretty much everything is here.
Well, we could discuss briefly the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
We could. I have no experience with this, but it looks like someone did a little bit of research.
Well, I would imagine that you don't have any experience since it's for kids ages 3 through 12. But essentially, it's a little salon and they do makeovers for kids. There are 3 packages. The cheapest one is called the Crown package. It's $59.95 plus tax. Includes hairstyling, makeup with a face gym, nail polish, a princess sash, and a cinch bag. The Courtyard package is a little step up from that. A big step up is $99.95. And it adds everything. You get everything in the previous package plus a Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique t-shirt and tutu. And then the Castle package is like the big Mac Daddy package. It's $199.95 plus tax. And it has everything in the previous ones plus a princess costume of your choice and accessories excluding shoes. You can also add a photo package for $32.95, but if you have Memory Maker, it is included.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously I don't have kids, but this is something that I would definitely, if I had a daughter or a son, if you wanted, would take them to and do the cute thing. But I have heard just in my many Disney forum experiences, people talking about it, that you like just go buy the dress before you get to the park and you save like $50.
Yeah.
But so little tidbit there for anybody who's considering it.
There's also a second location in Disney Springs. I assume the prices are the same, but I think the one in the Magic Kingdom is very difficult to get into. I know they recommend trying to get reservations 180 days in advance, just like dining reservations for this. So take that how you want.
Yeah, that's crazy that you have to book that at the same time.
I mean, and you see the kids walking around the parks and you can tell that they've been there and it's pretty cute, but every time I see them, I think like, God, what a nightmare it is going to be to wash their hair and get all that glitter out.
Yeah, but for the experience, if I had a kid, if I, could afford to do this and I had a kid, I would definitely do it just because I think that's probably something that like they're going to remember for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
I get that, but just on the other side of this, for the cost, like if you're getting this castle package, if you think about it, you could have almost 2 more days in the park for what you're paying. So, and I think that is a way, way better memory making experience than doing the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique.
Yeah,
just my opinion.
That's fair. I don't know. I feel like there's both sides to it. Like you can argue for one or the other.
Yeah, true.
So after that, do we want to talk about the mosaic corridor? Because I know Beth's got some notes on that one too. Or do we want to move on to the outside where all the fun stuff happens?
I mean, we don't have to go into detail about, I did way too much research on this just because I think it's such an amazing mosaic.
Oh, it really is though.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So just a couple of interesting things about it is that each of those pieces was placed by hand, which is insane. So it was an artist named, and I'm probably going to butcher this, Hans Joachim Scarf? I don't know. Anyway, he and his family cut, shaped, and glued each piece of glass by hand, which by the end of the project included more than 1 million pieces in over 500 different colors. And many of those are genuine gold and silver.
Wow.
So I just thought that was really interesting. Took about 18 months to complete.
That's insane. And you can definitely tell that it was like worked on for a while just by looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's super detailed, super in depth, and I would not have the patience or artistic skill to do anything near that.
I also feel this is another thing that a lot of people miss, because the the inside where the mosaic's at isn't always accessible to walk through, depending on if a show or parade's about to start. So I feel like a lot of people kind of veer around the outside and go that way instead of going through the castle, which is kind of sucks because this is a very, very cool piece of art that a lot of people don't get to see.
Yeah, and it's not super brightly lit in that corridor either.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a lot of people in
mural justice.
A lot of people in a rush just trying to get to Fantasyland, I think, skip over it.
Well, and that's another thing is like, not only is it not open all the time, but really the only time that you ever have to go through there is if you have a reservation at Cinderella's Royal Table. Mm-hmm. So unless you've really done your research and you're like, oh yeah, I want to go here for dinner, like the center of the castle is not utilized as a walkway very much. And there's so many other ways to get around the Magic Kingdom that I feel like it's just super easy to miss.
Yeah. I try to walk through it when I can. But it is closed off a lot of the time because of the stage shows and such.
So we can use that as a transition to talk about Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair, which closes the castle a lot because it's on the castle stage. Transitions.
I love this show.
I still don't know how I feel about it because I really liked the show that was there before it.
Dream Along.
Yeah. I don't know why I really like Dream Along with Mickey. But...
Oh no, I did too. I was very sad to see Dream Along go, but when I saw this, I was like, I miss you, Dream Along, but I'm okay with this.
I really do like that this show kind of doesn't just, yeah, there's a whole section for Frozen, but it doesn't ride the Frozen hype as much as a lot of other things did. It definitely takes time to play on Tangled and Princess and the Frog, which are both also very important and underappreciated. So I like that about this.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I may be a little biased because The Princess and the Frog is my favorite Disney film. But I think it's adorable. The song is super catchy. And don't they change the costume seasonally?
Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit ago on one of our other shows, but they changed the costume seasonally, and I feel like there's something else that they changed seasonally, but I can't remember. But I know for sure that they changed the costume seasonally.
Yeah, and that's a neat little detail that they didn't have to do, but they did.
So from that, do we have any final thoughts on Friendship Fair? Or okay,
go check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely a good show. And the nice thing about the stage shows on the castle is there's not really a bad spot to see them from. I mean, like there are some spots where it's less than favorable, but for the most part, the hub is pretty big and you can see pretty much everything from the second you step off of Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
However, I did realize that there's one thing that I did not put in the notes that I want to talk about. I know we talked about the opening show at Magic Kingdom on our Main Street episode and how it used to be outside of the train station. Well, last year, I want to say it was, they moved the show to the front of Cinderella's castle. So now when you get in early, you can kind of go in like the little hub area and they have like a little opening show where they bring out a bunch of characters and, someone will open the park from Cinderella's castle. So that's like a nice little neat show that's worth checking out. I was a huge fan of the original opening, but it was pretty crowded there.
Yeah, I miss the emphasis on train station, because of how special that is. Not to say that the castle isn't special, but the castle is going to get attention regardless. So I do miss the train station. I understand it makes a lot more sense to move as many guests are coming into Magic Kingdom now, to the hub. It's a lot easier to spread out and for people to go in the direction they want to go. But I still miss the train station.
Yeah, and I think, and I completely agree with you. I really liked the opening show at the train station because it was like it got you kind of hyped to go in, but this one it's like you're already in, so I feel like it doesn't have the same effect.
Well, the thing that really sucks about the train station opening is that the spot that they had it in was super small and cramped. The nice thing about this is that you have the whole hub to kind of spread out and let more people in. So I see why they did it. I really miss the old show, and I liked that there, like Brian said, there was emphasis on the train station and the railroad. But I don't know. This is a change that I'm not like super upset about.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the new stage show. Have you guys?
I've seen videos. I haven't actually seen it because I haven't been there since they changed it.
I just can't convince myself to wake up that early anymore. Not on vacation.
I mean, it was worth it when it was the train station, and I'll probably do it again the next time that we go down, just because like I really did like getting up early enough to be at the Magic Kingdom before anyone else, and see that nice little show because it's a fun little thing that they do. Plus, Main Street is always a lot more awake in the morning. So there's a lot of like big selling reasons why you should be in the park early. But I'll probably do it again just to even just see the show.
Yeah, I'll do it eventually, but I tell myself every time, like since they started, I'm like, I gotta wake up early so I can go see the new stage show, and I have yet to do it because I'm just like, I have to wake up at 7 every day for work. Why should I wake up that early to go on vacation?
I feel you. I don't think I've been to a rope drop since I moved to Florida. So
yeah,
guys, you're killing me.
I probably haven't been to a rope drop since like 2014.
Oh man.
I would say do it, and I'm not gonna like hang on to this too much just because we've already talked about Main Street, but Main Street is so much more alive in the morning. Like they have a lot more Streetmosphere characters. They have the cars on Main Street. Like there's just so much going on, and there's a better chance to catch everything the earlier you are.
Oh yeah, definitely. For anyone listening, do rope drop. I don't do it because I have an hour drive to Disney, and that means I gotta get up an hour earlier than everyone else, and it's probably not gonna happen. But yeah, if you're staying on property or just in the area to go to Disney, definitely get there for rope drop.
Yeah, and I don't do it because I'm lazy.
I'm just saying, you both need to do it because like it's gonna revital. Well, Brian maybe not so much because now he's got to get up an extra 2 hours. But Beth, next time you're there, do rope drop just so that you can like have that moment in Main Street and see the new stage show because we're talking about the hub and not Main Street. But from there we can talk about some of the other stuff that they do, like the parades. Which one do you want to talk about first? Because I still kind of consider Move It, Shake It a parade, sort of.
I mean, yeah.
I think it's horrible. This might be my least favorite parade, Streetmosphere, whatever you want to consider this thing. I absolutely hate this. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it fits in Magic Kingdom. It's kind of, I don't like the design of any of the like parade costumes or any of the other stuff with it, the floats. I don't know. I feel like it detracts from Main Street and the hub and the castle. I don't know. I don't know if y'all particularly like this or I'm just the only one that hates it this much.
I don't have too many feelings on it. It's colorful. Very colorful. But for the most part, like it's not one I would miss. Like Festival of Fantasy, I would very much miss if they cut from the park. But even like this one, there's not really anything super exciting, and that might just might be because I don't have a kid or anyone in my traveling party that's really of the age group that this is targeted at. But it's a nice little thing where they bring out some floats with some characters on it. They play music, they dance. There's cast members that dance too. Like that's what it really is.
Yeah, I'm not in love with it, but I think it's kind of cute. I think the cutest part is when the kids get into it, though.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. It might not be towards our demographic, and that might be why I think we don't have a lot of opinions towards it. But it's, I don't know, it's a parade, kind of a dance party in the hub. What are the characters that are there now? Because I know that like the ones that I remember were like Stitch, Baloo, Goofy, King Louie. Like there's a really weird assortment of characters.
Yeah, I mean, they have the Fab Four in it, I think, last time I saw it. And then, yeah, it just seems like kind of a random hodgepodge of other characters that they throw in there from time to time.
Like Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde.
Which is kind of cool because, like, you may get the chance to see a character you wouldn't normally see in Magic Kingdom. Like, I know for sure that I have pictures of Stitch and Baloo on that thing, which that's kind of cool. But yeah,
I think I hate this so much because it's like the worst timing. I swear, like every time I'm in Magic Kingdom and I'm trying to cut from Adventureland to Tomorrowland, like we walk into the hub and it's like bam, move it, shake it, dance, it's happening, and it's like I either got to try to cut my way through this or go all the way around.
you mean you don't like hearing that song at full blast?
Oh no, yeah, the song is very just repetitive and I don't know how to describe it. It's like bad pop music.
So I think I talked about the Small World remix from when I worked at Toys R Us on the show, but there at the same time that they changed the music for that, this song was in the loop, and I swear I heard it one day. And I was like, "Wait, what? What's going on?" Oh gosh, I don't know. It's cute, but it's one of those things that it could definitely do with an upgrade, and I don't see it staying along for super long.
Yeah, I think it's just a time filler.
Pretty much.
They're not taking it away because it doesn't do any difference either way, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the whole point of this is to, like you said, kind of fill the time before the parades and stuff like that. And I don't know, there's just so much more that they could do, I think. But from there, we would go to Festival of Fantasy, which is probably one of my favorite parades. I think this is like the perfect parade for Magic Kingdom right now, especially since it came along with the new Fantasyland upgrade. I think all of the floats are really well designed, and like, how can you not love that giant dragon?
Oh yeah, that's
definitely
pretty
the
iconic.
highlight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just super impressive all around.
Yeah, I think this parade's really awesome, and it's still relatively new. It came out in what, 2014? Something like that?
I think so. Which was the one before it? I actually cannot remember now.
I don't even know if I saw the one before it.
I'm going to look that up.
Was it the Celebrated Dream Come True?
I think so. It's always a good sign when the parade that's current makes you forget the one that was there before it.
Yeah, so it's a good thing that it's still pretty new because that means we get to keep it for a while.
Yeah.
So and it was Celebrated Dream Come True before that, by the way.
Oh, cool. But question for you guys. I know that like a lot of people have a preferred place to view the parade. Where are you guys usually at when the parade's going on if you're planning to catch it?
I like
I'm
to
like
be on
never
Main Street.
planning. Sorry.
What was that, Brian?
I like to be on Main Street. I kind of like it just because you see each float kind of one at a time, or you don't get to see, the next one, until it gets close to you. And I just like to see parades like that in general.
Yeah, I like Main Street too. The last time when we went to Not So Scary, I made a point to like stake out a spot on Main Street because I knew I was going to be like taking pictures off of Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that like the best spot is right outside of the Emporium or right by where that like little nook area is. Because if you stake out a spot like early enough, you get that view that you're talking about where they come around the corner and you're not really seeing that next float.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
about you, Beth?
I mean, I think if I had my choice, I would definitely pick Main Street as well. But I'm one of the crazy people that never actually plans to catch the parade. It just happens upon me. So my favorite place to watch it is wherever I am at the time.
So, also along that same lines, do you guys have a preference on like floats? Is there one that you like, one you don't like?
The Maleficent one at the end has to be the best.
Yeah, that one's really awesome, and I really like the like stilt walkers or that come with that as well. But
that's really cool.
Other than that one, I really like the Tangled float because of the swinging back and forth. I think that one's pretty cool.
Dude, I think that's my favorite, and because of the swinging too. Like that's one of the best parts.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that this parade came out before they realized how big Frozen was going to be, because the only reference to Frozen is like that little float where like on one side's Anna and Elsa and the other side is Tiana and Naveen, and it just like turns. So and it's just like waving at people and like hugging each other, and that's it. I think there maybe is like a little Olaf.
Yeah, I think Olaf's in there too. I actually really like the Peter Pan one too. That one's really cool.
Oh, that one, yeah, with the rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
There's a lot of really cool floats in this parade.
Yeah, they did a great job.
And you know what? I think this is the parade that I would actually be really upset if it left. Like I was a little upset about Main Street Electrical, but I wasn't like
same here.
I was not one of the people that was like needed to buy those shirts and merchandise for it. Like I don't know. I was upset, but this would be the parade that I would be like, oh man, really?
Yeah, and whenever Wishes went away, they had all that merchandising as well of like, Wishes, the last show or whatever. And I was like, I love Wishes, and I would totally like be the person to buy this, but the designs were just not that good. It was like they just like threw something together because they're like, somebody realized like, oh snap, that deadline is today.
Well, the thing about that, because I kind of feel similarly, but not at the same time. A lot of the thing with the Wishes merchandise was that it was just the Wishes logo. Like it had Jiminy Cricket with the like star sparkle behind it, which I'm weird and I have the actual Wishes CD. And that's the cover of the Wishes CD.
I feel like they could have done more, but
yeah, I mean they probably could have.
Sure,
we want to talk about
no problem selling it.
We want to talk about good merchandise for closing attractions. You could talk about oh my gosh, Great Movie Ride had good ones, and Osborne Lights also had some really good ones. But
oh man,
not talking about them right now. So do we want to move on to Happily Ever After? Because I kind of have to keep my mouth shut on this one. I've seen videos and I like the soundtrack, and I know that I'm going to feel a lot more towards it when I actually see it, but I'm still kind of in Team Kirsten and Bring Back Wishes.
Yeah, I was a big Wishes fan, and I've only seen Happily Ever After once, But I did think it was a really good show. My only issues with it were that it focuses, I think, too much on projection mapping. It's it's supposed to be a fireworks show, but I feel like there's not a whole lot of fireworks in it, but maybe I'm just used to Wishes having more.
Being all fireworks.
Yeah, but and then my only other issue was that, at least for me, it doesn't have the same like warm and fuzzy effect on you.
My thing, like, I think I said this before, but my thing with like Wishes versus Happily Ever After, at least from what I know, and obviously I haven't seen it yet, but from just listening to the soundtrack, like the nice thing about Wishes was that while it was like a medley of Disney songs, they took a lot of like liberty with it and kind of made an original score, even though it was just like a medley of Disney songs. A lot of Happily Ever is kind of just blocks of Disney songs, and that's the thing that I think that I'm a little bit more Team Wishes for.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like that they use a lot of not popular Disney things. Like I was really happy that Hunchback got its own section. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I expect to like it, and from the videos and things I've seen, I like it enough. But I want to really reserve my opinion until I see it in person.
Yeah. So like, not comparing it to Wishes at all, I like it a lot, and I probably wouldn't have any, I guess, negative things to say about it, because when it comes down to it, I'm thinking like, how is this different from Wishes?
Right.
But I mean, I do think it's a good show.
What would you say is the best segment of Happily Ever After? Just in case anyone wants to know like what you think of it.
I don't know. I feel like this is, and I said this literally as soon as the show ended. I was like, I'm gonna have to come back and watch this like 16 times before I see everything that just happened, because there's so much to look at. Like every second of the show, there's 10,000 different places you could be looking and see something different. But I don't know, maybe the part that stands out to me, and maybe it's because I was like, when did I see it? I think it was before, or either right before or right after Moana came out. So I really liked that part because it was so fresh. I was like, I don't know anything about this. But I don't know if I would say that's the best part, but that was my favorite part, probably.
The one thing I do like from what I've seen of it is that it definitely utilizes all of this space. I feel like that, like you said, it is one that you have to see like 5 or 6 times before you get the full scope of it all.
Sure.
So I guess from there we can talk about Kirsten's favorite thing, the hubgrass. This was a great addition to the hub. I think that just kind of adds to like the atmosphere of, this is a nice place to kind of just relax and, catch a parade or watch a show. And I really like that they put these little sections of not grass in there.
But it does. It makes it feel more natural. And, it's cool that they're, even though it's not a real green space, but they're like using space that they could try to shoehorn something in there. But they make it, like a little relaxing atmosphere for the guests.
Yeah, I think that this is like if this isn't your first Disney trip, like if you're coming back and you've done a couple attractions for the day and you need just a place to sit down, like it might be good to just kind of sit down, soak up the atmosphere, soak up the castle view, and just like enjoy yourself here.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like a couple cool little statues all around and fountains that are nice to look at and just kind of hang out by too. Like Disney did a really good job when they redid the hub.
Yeah,
I agree.
So someone else put this in here, and I think this is a good place to kind of tie this topic up. But past parades events, anything like that. I know we kind of briefly touched on Main Street Electrical and Wishes a little bit, but do you guys want to share any thoughts or anything on the stuff that used to be here?
Well, I think. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say, I know we touched on it before, but yeah, like I really missed Main Street Electrical Parade. That was probably my favorite parade that's ever been at Disney. It's so classic, and I don't know. I understand why people don't like it. It's not as, I guess, awe-inspiring and eye-catching as some of the newer floats, but I don't know, there's just something very, it felt right on Main Street. It felt like the, kind of classical, just small town type. I don't know, it just fit really well with the atmosphere to me, and I do really miss it a lot.
The thing that kills me about Main Street Electrical Parade, and like really kills me, is that they took it away and then didn't do anything. Like everyone was expecting a new nighttime parade, or
Yeah.
They thought that maybe we were gonna get Paint the Night, which would have been cool. But like, I'm really upset that Disney just took it away and they didn't even try to offer anything else in its place.
I don't know. And it's still, we haven't heard anything yet about a nighttime parade, and that was kind of such a big part of the Magic Kingdom. So I'm surprised that they've gone this long without one.
And who knows, we might get like a new parade announced in a couple months. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But still, like you said, there's something classic about Main Street Electrical. And the thing that like I really liked about it, and I can see how it was also something that probably hurt it, was the floats did kind of feel a little dated, but it was like a nice dated, like a Tomorrowland.
Like nostalgia.
Yeah. Classic, not dated.
Yeah, okay, classic is a better word. But
yeah, I really like the Main Street Electrical Parade too, and I totally agree with you guys. I don't understand why they didn't, like, until they put something else there, there's not really a reason not to have a nighttime parade.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it was because they were moving it back to Disneyland.
But even that was marketed as a temporary thing.
Right. I was thinking that we were going to kind of do a swap season. We were going to get Paint the Night for a little bit, but that didn't happen either. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I want them to put something back in here, but at this point, I feel like we've gone so long that maybe we're not going to get anything. But I'm still holding on to hope.
I'm sure they'll announce something before the 50th, but I don't know. I feel like it's definitely lacking, because there's nothing, like no shows going on after probably, I guess, the last showing of Friendship Fair, and like in between that, there's nothing until Happily Ever After, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what it was that like the only thing that really stunk about it was at the end of the night when Wishes was still going on and this was still going on, everything just kind of happened one after another. So I think that also hurt it a little bit too, because if you remember, it was always it was always Main Street Electrical, and then immediately after that you had Celebrate the Magic. Was that what it was? Whatever the projection show. I can't remember what that was called now.
Yeah, I think it was
Celebrate the Magic, but that came on, and then immediately after that you had Wishes. So it was kind of like bam, 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 three things right in a row, and that kind of, I think that hurt it a lot too.
Yeah. Side note, did either of you ever see Spectra Magic?
No. I mean, actually, I think I did, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, I mean, I had to have seen it just as often as I went as a kid, but nothing from it really stands out to me.
I never saw it, but I've heard a lot about it, and has apparently a pretty decent following. of people that miss it.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, I'm looking at the dates for it, and it went away and then it came back. And I know that a lot of people have a lot of love for it, but apparently the last date that it was there was 2010. And I know I was going to Disney at that time. And I know that I was, we were in the Magic Kingdom late at night and stuff like that. But I feel like that was a point in my Disney going career where I just didn't really pay that much attention to like the nighttime parade.
Right. Yeah, I think that was like right before I started going on a regular basis. It's when it closed.
Okay, this was going on like right in the heart of all of our big family trips, and I just do not remember it. That's really sad. I kind of wish that I did see this, just because a lot of people do have a lot of like nostalgia for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got nothing on that one.
Yeah, I was just curious.
The only one that I do have a lot to say on, but I'm not going to take up everyone's time, is Wishes, and I wish Kirsten was here to gush about it with me, but I could literally go on and on about how much I loved Wishes. And I'm not upset that it got replaced as much as everyone else was, but I don't know. I wish Wishes would at least come back for like one night.
Would
It
you
would
make
be
a special
cool.
trip?
Oh, I would go down just for that night. Even if I had work the next morning, like I would call out sick just to go in. And like
I hope your boss doesn't listen to the podcast.
I'm sure they don't.
I think it would be really cool if like October 1st for the 50th, if they would bring Wishes back. I mean, it doesn't have a lot to do with opening day of the park, but I think that has to be the vast majority of all the Disney fans' favorite nighttime fireworks show.
I want them for the 50th anniversary of Magic Kingdom. And this is just a super far-fetched idea. I want them to do like a week of Disney Through the Ages where they just like have special nights dedicated to like decades of Disney parades and nighttime shows where like Monday night they do, like the first couple parades that they could do and change the stage show for that. Like I know it's not going to happen and I know it's super
so
unresistant.
hard, but that would be so
that would be
cool.
like they would sell out Magic Kingdom every night.
Yeah. We can hope, right?
Right.
I mean, they've done limited time magic stuff in the past, so never say never, right?
Yeah. I don't know. The 50th is going to be such an interesting time for Disney because there's been a lot of like before the 50th anniversary hype. If you guys noticed, like, even with the news story, Hollywood Studios is suspected to get its new change before the 50th. Like, if they're hyping stuff up that much before the 50th anniversary, what are they going to announce for the 50th anniversary?
Man, can't wait to find out.
I know. I kind of feel like D23's got to have something because if there's announcements coming, I feel like they have to break soon. Like they're running out of time before the 50th is coming for them to keep stuff hidden for too long. So
right. I really can't wait till we get closer towards D23 this year and we can do like a predictions episode where we just kind of like armchair Imagineer everything and talk about all the stuff that we want out of D23.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it's a Disney fan's Christmas. But anything else you guys want to talk about before we tie up the hub this week?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think this is such a great part of Magic Kingdom, and I'm hopeful that everyone else appreciates this as much as we do. Then that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for joining us again on another episode of the Station 71 podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a review while you're there as well. We'll be happy to read it on the show and address any questions, comments, concerns you might have. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on facebook.com/Station71pod, Twitter @Station71pod, Instagram @Station71podcast, and you can shoot us a listener email at station71podcast@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us again. We hope you enjoyed your ride, and we'll see you real soon.